The abandoned villa. I never imagined that the family I had devoted my entire life to would one day cast me aside like a broken toy. My name is Harper Johnson, and for 29 years I had been the invisible daughter, the one who tried desperately to earn approval that never came, the one who sacrificed everything for a family that saw me as nothing more than an inconvenience. Growing up in the Johnson household was like living in a beautifully decorated prison. My mother, Karen, was a former Miss Connecticut who treated her children like accessories to her perfect image. My father, Richard, worked as a director at Morgan Stanley and preferred to bury himself in work rather than deal with family conflicts. But it was my older brother, Jason, who made my life truly miserable. At 33, he was everything my parents wanted in a child: charming, successful in finance, and most importantly, someone who knew how to play their games. I was different. While Jason schmoozing with clients and playing golf at country clubs, I was hunched over computers, learning to code, building something from nothing. My parents saw this as embarrassing, a hobby unbecoming of a Johnson daughter. They wanted me to be like my sister-in-law Amanda, someone who looked pretty at social events and never challenged anyone's authority. For 7 long years, I had endured their constant dismissal. When I started my tech company in Silicon Valley, they rolled their eyes. When I secured my first major contract, they changed the subject. When my company went public and I became worth $50 million overnight, they acted as if it was luck rather than years of relentless work and brilliant strategy. Every family gathering was the same. Jason would regale everyone with stories of his hedge fund, while my achievements were met with polite nods and quick changes of conversation. I told myself it didn't matter, that their approval wasn't what I was working for. But deep down, that little girl who just wanted her family to be proud of her was still there, still hoping that one day they would see me for who I really was. The annual family vacation to Blue Water Cove was supposed to be different this year. It was my father's 60th birthday, and I had planned something special. I had booked first-class tickets for everyone, arranged for a private chef, and even bought my father a $50,000 Patek Philippe watch. I thought maybe, finally, they would appreciate the success I had built. That illusion shattered with a single phone call. I was in my Manhattan penthouse, carefully wrapping the watch in its elegant box, when my phone rang. Jason's name appeared on the screen, and I answered with excitement, ready to discuss the final arrangements for our trip. "Harper," Jason's voice was cold, dripping with condescension. "There's been a change of plans. Mom, Dad and I have decided that your presence this year would be inappropriate." The words hit me like a physical blow. Inappropriate? Jason, what the hell are you talking about? I've already booked first-class tickets for everyone. I've arranged everything. Exactly, Jason interrupted, his voice growing more venomous. Your whole "look how rich I am now" act is frankly embarrassing. Do you know that Gregory lost a significant amount of money investing in your competitor's company? You showing up there, flaunting your new wealth, would be like rubbing salt in his wounds. And Dad, this is his 60th birthday. It should be about him, not about Silicon Valley's golden girl showing off. The contempt in his voice was like a knife twisting in my chest. I could barely breathe as he continued. "Let me talk to Dad," I managed to say. "No need. The decision has been made. The whole family voted. You lost, little sister." Like always, the line went dead. I stared at the phone in my hand, feeling something inside me break and reshape itself into something harder, colder. A few minutes later, an email arrived from the family's lawyer. A formal notification that due to recent tensions, my presence at the annual family vacation was unwelcome. They had even canceled the airline tickets I had purchased. This wasn't just rejection. This was excommunication. After everything I had sacrificed, every insult I had swallowed, every moment I had spent trying to prove myself worthy of their love, they had cast me out completely. But instead of crumbling, I felt something I had never experienced before, pure crystalline rage. Not the hot anger of a moment, but the cold, calculating fury of someone who had finally seen the truth. They wanted to exclude me. Fine, but they had no idea what they had just unleashed. I called my best friend Zoe immediately. "They banned me," I said, my voice steady as steel. "What? Those bastards." "Zoe, I don't need comfort. I need information. I want to know everything about Blue Water Cove Resort. Who owns it? Financial status, everything." Within an hour, using my research skills and connections, I discovered that the owner, Frank Williams, was looking to retire and the resort was quietly being put up for sale. But there was competition. A large hotel corporation, Athelred Hospitality, run by Victor Stone, was also interested. I didn't waste a second. I called my financial advisor. Liquidate all my tech stocks. I need $25 million in cash. Now. I flew to Maine that very night. Meeting Frank Williams was intense. The negotiation was fierce. Victor Stone had already made a higher offer. Miss Johnson, Frank said, Victor Stone offered $22 million. Your offer is $20 million. Mr. Stone will turn this place into another soulless concrete block in his hotel chain, I replied firmly. He'll fire half your loyal staff and replace them with minimum wage workers. He'll destroy the soul of this place. I've been coming here for 20 years. I know every pebble on this beach. I'm not buying real estate. I'm buying back my memories. I played my ace card. I'll pay $23 million. All cash. The contract will be completed within 48 hours. And I'll keep all the staff, give them a 20% raise immediately, and establish a retirement fund named after you. It was an offer Frank couldn't refuse. Meanwhile, I received an anonymous email. Be careful. There's a mole in your family feeding information to Victor Stone. I smiled coldly. I knew exactly who it was. The Johnson family arrived at the resort, smug and arrogant. They walked into the main lobby and immediately sensed something different. More luxurious, more refined. Karen frowned. They've changed my favorite flowers. When Jason approached the front desk and said, the Johnson family reservation at Serenity Villa, the receptionist smiled and said, I'm sorry, sir. Serenity Villa is occupied. Occupied? Ridiculous. We've stayed there for 20 years, Jason roared. Indeed. A familiar voice rang out from behind them. And this year, its owner has decided to stay there. They turned around. I stood there wearing a power suit, radiating cold confidence. Beside me was Frank Williams. Harper, my father stammered. What are you doing here? I extended my hand to Frank, who placed a golden key in my palm. Welcome to Blue Water Cove, I said, my smile sharp as a razor. Or should I say, welcome to my resort. Frank Williams smiled at the Johnson family. Let me introduce the new owner of Blue Water Cove, Miss Harper Johnson. Silence descended. Karen's face turned white as paper. Jason looked like he had been struck by lightning. You were banned, Karen hissed. You banned me from the family villa. But you said nothing about me buying the entire resort, I replied. Everyone's rooms are ready. Standard suites in the West Wing, overlooking the parking lot. Serenity Villa is mine. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting. I turned and walked away, leaving my family standing in the lobby in complete humiliation. Jason didn't give up. He began a covert sabotage campaign. He used his connections to pressure suppliers, causing food deliveries to be delayed. He convinced several disgruntled employees to quit suddenly during peak weekend. He even hired a company to create hundreds of fake negative reviews online, claiming the resort had bugs and terrible service. I had anticipated this. With my loyal team now paid much better and the instincts of a tech CEO, I quickly resolved the issues. I signed contracts with new local suppliers, empowered middle managers to handle staffing crises, and used my cybersecurity expertise to track down and expose the online smear campaign, turning it into a PR story about the resort's resilience. The climax came on my father's birthday night. I still organized an elegant dinner party. The whole family sat in tense silence. After the main course, Jason stood up, raising his glass. Happy birthday, Dad. And also, congratulations, Harper. Anyway, you've shown us that money can buy everything, except class. I smiled. Thank you, Jason. Speaking of class, I also have a gift for Dad. And a little presentation for everyone. I signaled. A large screen descended. I connected my laptop. I wondered why Victor Stone knew exactly when to make his offer. Turns out he had an inside source. On the screen, a series of emails appeared. Email exchanges between Jason and Victor Stone. Jason had betrayed both the family and me, providing detailed information about my offer in exchange for a position on Athelred's board after they took over. Jason, our father whispered, his voice trembling. The negative reviews, the canceled suppliers, I continued, my voice cold as ice. All orchestrated by you, Jason. You didn't just try to sabotage my business. You tried to destroy Frank Williams's 30-year legacy just because of your petty jealousy. Karen fainted. Gregory pulled Amanda out of the room. Richard Johnson stood up, his face red with anger and shame. He looked at his son, not with disappointment but with disgust. Get out, he growled. You're no longer my son. Get out. Jason, humiliated and exposed, stumbled out of the room, his career and life in ruins. 1 year later, Blue Water Cove had been renamed the Harper Resort at Blue Water Cove. It had become the most luxurious and exclusive destination in New England, featured in the world's top travel magazines. I was the queen of an empire I had created myself. I wasn't just successful, I was happy, free, and respected. Jason lost everything. His fund went bankrupt, he was blacklisted from the finance industry, and had to take a menial desk job in another city. He was completely cut off from the family. Richard divorced Karen. He retired and now lived in a small house near the resort, trying to repair his relationship with me. He worked as my advisor, and for the first time in his life, he was genuinely proud of his daughter publicly. Karen lived alone in the big house in Greenwich, shunned by high society after the scandal. She had lost everything she valued: status, reputation, and control. Amanda and Gregory divorced. Amanda, without skills or money, had to humble herself and ask me for an event management job at the resort. She worked hard, knowing her position depended entirely on the kindness of the sister she had once scorned. In the final scene, I stood on the balcony of Serenity Villa, looking out at the sea. My father came beside me, handing me a glass of wine. "You've built something truly extraordinary here, Harper." "I simply renovated the old foundation, Dad," I said. "I tore down what was rotten and kept what was truly valuable." We raised our glasses together, not as a broken family trying to heal, but as two adults, two survivors, admiring an empire built from the ashes of betrayal. I hadn't just bought a resort. I had bought justice for myself, and that was the sweetest revenge of all.